the social media masterclass property edition. I'm your host, Lion, known as the voice of marketing and your friend in all things business, mindset, and sometimes pop culture. Guys, thank you for your patience. We had technical issues, which is why we had to start our stream at 11:30 instead of 11 o'clock as promised. Let me know if you are on and where you are. Are you at the office? Are you at home? Are you at work? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an employee or professional in the property industry? Let me know just a little bit about you so I have a sense of who is in the room. I've got my cup of coffee and we're going to need it. It's a strong black cup of coffee. Let me see what I can. I'm just going to write a poll. So the poll is social media a great tool to market property? And the answer, I'm not sure. There you go. We've started our poll. There you go. So we've started our poll. Is social media a great tool to market property? I want you guys to engage with that poll and let me know what you think. You know, every time we do these master classes, I try to gauge where everybody is in terms of their understanding and their perception of social media so that we can start at the level that works for the majority of us, right? I know that we're living in a country, South Africa, and on a continent, Africa, where we're still really behind from a perspective of truly valuing social media as a business tool in serious companies, you know? So I know a lot of people will say things like, social media is for children, social media is just for fun, or we're doing it just because, you know, we've been told we need it, but it's not as important as all these other processes and things that companies invest in. Companies will even invest in catering and take it more seriously than they will in their social media, even though their social media can build their brand, bring them customers, do a whole lot for them that they're not aware of. So I just want to understand where you are from a perspective of what you think of social media. And don't forget to let me know in the comment section below. I think I've opened them. Let me know in the comment section below. Where are you joining in from? Let's have that conversation. And what do you do in the property industry? Are you in property or are you in a different industry? And you're on this live because you want to get the insights that make sense to you. Let me know. Okay, so because we don't have a lot of time, it is a Thursday midday basically, and I know all of you have a lot of work to do. We're going to go straight into this, and you guys will let me know in the comment section if you have questions, etc. So property, in my opinion, is one of the best markets to use social media marketing. And the reason why I say this is because property is highly visual. So I think it's just as easy to market a beauty business as it is to market property. They are the same because of the visual element of it. Social media really lends itself to things that can show proof in the pudding, right? Or that can show that the thing really exists. Because when people come online, they are skeptical. They're not too sure, am I being scammed? Is this thing real? Is it fake? And now we're also going into an era where we have AI and all of these things that are, you know, can create simulations of these things. So you're never really sure if something is real online. So the more visual something is, the easier it is to create a brand for it and social media pages for it, because you can almost show the proof of the pudding. You can show that the thing exists and you can show that it works. Property is also really wonderful because it will always be in demand. right? It's the same as beauty. It will always be in demand. There'll always be somebody who needs a property for something, which means you've got a market that's consistently growing. And even when it's not necessarily growing at the rate that you want it to, there'll always be pockets of saturated demand for some type of property, which means that if you are in the property space, you actually have positioned yourself really well to be able to monetize no matter what the economy is doing, no matter what season you might be in. So how do we even start marketing a property company? How do we start? Let's say you have Airbnbs or you want to show properties that you're selling as a real estate agent. Where do we start? I want you guys to think about a marketing funnel, right? And in all marketing funnels, whether we're talking about brand building, resonance funnels, or whatever the case may be, the first thing that we care about or that we address as marketers is awareness, right? We need to make people aware that we exist. We need to make them aware that our product exists, that our business exists, that our service exists. So you're going to spend majority of your time creating awareness, which is where content marketing comes into play, right? And it's so simple in the real estate and in the property market because the properties already exist most of the time. So what are we saying to you here is to build awareness for your property business, you need to focus on showing people the properties that you have. You need to invest heavily in content marketing. Please do not take pictures on your phone and post them on the post that you have to sell the property. Please do not take pictures with your phone to sell properties or to sell Airbnbs or to sell some kind of property experience. That is the worst thing that you can do. Your pictures will determine 90% of how somebody views the quality and the value of the kinds of properties that you're offering. So invest in proper photographers and proper videographers, right? And when I say proper, I mean professionals. And when you are looking for your professional videographers and photographers, please, guys, choose people based on their portfolios. Ask them, can I see some of your previous work? You don't want somebody who overly edits things because the property must look real and it must look like it exists. But there are some photographers and videographers who over edit things. And so it looks too much like a simulation or, something that isn't real. You want the property to look beautiful and like a nicer version of itself, but you still want it to look real. It mustn't look so different when the person comes to view it from the pictures that you've taken. So try to find videographers and photographers who are able to enhance the pictures, but still keep it true to form. Right? That's the first thing. But within this conversation of us talking about you using pictures to advertise your properties, whether it's Airbnb or you're a real estate agent and you're selling properties or offices or whatever, please, good people, invest in staging. I know a lot of people do not want to take that money that is required to stage a space. But if you can, that's probably one of the best ways to sell a property because what staging does is it gives somebody the idea of what it would look like for them to stay there. Right? The concept of furnishing your space, how you feel living in the space, it's very hard for the average person to conceptualize. So what you want to do for them is do the thinking for them and say, this is where your family would sit to eat dinner. This is where your kids would sleep. This is where they would play. This is the kitchen you'd be in. Try to stage things, right? And take photos of what has been staged because it gives a person an idea of what the space can look like. And that, I'm telling you now, selling the experience over the property will always work better for you. The people who sell the experience of living there will always do better than the people who are just selling the property because you are allowing people to imagine with you. And that imagination thing is so invaluable. You'll be shocked at how good it is at creating awareness and building trust and really digging into people's emotions. Because remember, people do not make decisions rationally. They make them based on emotions. Can they see themselves building a family in this home? Can they see their family being happy in this home? Can they see their company thriving in this office space? Do they see themselves enjoying their holiday in this Airbnb? Whatever they're trying to do in the space, they need to be able to envision that it is possible in your space. So stage the space, or at least decorate it in a way that works for you. If you are using properties that are owned by other people, let's say you're a real estate agent and you're selling a home that's owned by people already, when the photographers come to take photos, clean the space and make sure things are positioned ideally. If you cannot stage it with new furniture, make sure things are positioned ideally. But simply expecting a photographer or videographer to be able to take great footage of something that doesn't look so appealing is setting yourself up for disaster. So really invest in the planning of the shoot day, in the planning on the videos. And please, whatever you do, please don't go too techie with your videography. Like, we don't need drones. Unless you're selling a gigantic piece of land, we don't need a drone perspective of the property, right? We don't need drones for a basic family home. It just seems so ridiculous. And it doesn't allow somebody to understand that you know why they want to get that property. We do not need drones. Drones are for super luxe, super big properties. Super luxe, super big, or just super big. That's when you start to use a drone to show people how big the land is, how much space the property occupies. But you do not need a drone for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, double-story house in a small gated community. It's not necessary. And I actually think it detracts from the authenticity and the warmth of the experience. So don't do that. Don't use drones. They're not worth it. We're investing in content marketing here because we are in the property space and it's highly visual. Okay, so now you have these beautiful pictures and you've got some videos. And please remember my key to video online. Use the music as an SEO tool, search engine optimization tool. When you add a piece of music to your content, don't let the videographers give you videos that already have sound. Music, because what that does is it's not allowing you to plug into the music archives that are available on social media, and so you actually lose out on some of the reach you could have had if you use the music on the platform. So make sure that they're not adding music to your videos. That's one of my pro tips I can give you. Get videos that don't have music. They can have audio, they can have voice, but don't allow them to give you videos that have music. Then what I want you to do is I want you to go onto the app. Let's say it's TikTok. When you upload the video, choose a song that you want to have as the background music for your video, right? And make sure the song has a really good SEO. Make sure it's got a community that is already watching or using that sound, because it gives you extra reach and you want that for yourself so that your content can spread a little bit further than it would. But also make sure that your music goes with the way they've cut the video, right? So don't just add a song because it's popular. If you've got a luxe space, use music that also perpetuates luxury. If you've got a homely space, use music that perpetuates homeliness. Make sure that the music you're using is appropriate to what you're selling so that the person can understand the experience that they would have being there. I keep using this word experience. It's so important because you're not selling property. You're selling people's lives. You're selling what their lives can look like. You're selling their dream lives. You're selling the solution that they needed to have peace in their family. You're not selling property. You're not selling bricks, chairs, tables, grass, swimming pools. You're selling family day. You're selling the validation I need to show all the hard work that I've done over the years. You are not just selling brick and mortar. Please be aware of that. So if you're in the property space, tip number 3, when you are writing captions for your content, or even when you're speaking to prospects, don't speak to them as if what matters is 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Have a conversation with people. Ask them, what are you looking for in your dream property? How can we help you achieve that? Ask them about themselves so you understand their pain points and the reason that could make them want to secure the property with you or go on that journey with you. So even in your descriptions, when you're writing about the property, yes, you can say to people, spacious home, blah, 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 but also give them an idea of who's meant to live in that home. Once you do that, when you're thinking for the customer, you'll see that your conversion rate from people looking at your content to maybe clicking a website link will get much higher, because context is everything in content marketing. You cannot produce content that does not have context. So in property, you need to tell people this is where your team will be able to achieve their results and build strong team dynamics, through a combined kitchen area that has a farm to table style dining space, so that people can mingle and get to know each other as they're having their lunch. Whatever the case is, but tell the story to make the property attractive to the right audience, right? Content marketing is all about context, which means you need to tell the story. Also make sure that if you want to be the face, let's say you're a real estate agent and you want to be the face of your page whilst you're showing the properties, please look like your properties. No one is going to believe that somebody in tracksuit pants and a random t-shirt is somebody who's able to sell, properties over 5 million rands, for example. Look like the properties that you want to sell. Unless you've got a reputation that precedes you and you're the guy or the girl who's known for selling properties to celebrities or people with lots of money, and they like you because your style is usually jeans and a t-shirt or tracksuit pants. But if you are building your reputation, as you're building your company's reputation, you need to look like the properties that you're selling. In other words, if you're not selling luxe, do not look luxe, because that will also put people off. You must look like the price range of what you are selling, so people understand that you have an understanding of that price range. But if you look too high end for the segment that you're selling, people are not going to believe that you understand the segment, or they might think that you might be, overpricing because you look expensive or whatever the case may be. So it works both ways. Just looking luxe all the time does not work if you're not selling luxe. It can actually put customers off, and it can make them think that you don't have an understanding of that environment and community. Look like the area that you're selling. And I mean that in the best way. And look like the best representation of the area that you're selling, right? If you know your market is families that are middle income earners and they're buying in these areas, look like somebody who would be their neighbor. It's so important for you to make sure that even in your identity, you're still carrying through the story of the market that you're selling to. You're not selling property, you're selling the experience. You're selling the identity. You're selling the lifestyle that your prospective customer is going to buy. So sell that to them, not necessarily the property. Yes? We're leaning more into the psychographics, not into the demographics. Because we all know, especially if you've been in property, I've worked in property before and I've done a lot of marketing in the property space. Even when people don't fit the demographics of the kind of profile that would afford the space, there are people who will find the money if the story resonates with them and they feel that this is something they need to make extra budget for. Right. So we've got great videos and photos. Then we are plugging our content into the right music for SEO optimization. Then we're writing captions that talk about the experience, not just the basics of the properties, the features of the properties. We're also talking about the benefits of living there by making it relatable to your ideal audience. Yes, I hope we're all on the same page. Guys, don't forget you can ask questions as we move along. I'm just trying to put this survey down so that we can keep talking. But yeah, you're welcome to ask questions It's not a problem. I'm quite happy to answer them as we go along. Yes. Okay. So we've done all those things that I've mentioned. Now, what happens is, especially if you've got really great properties that you're showing or Airbnbs that you're showing, people are going to start asking questions in your comment section. I'm a fan, favorite, and firm believer of engagement. You need to engage with the people who engage with your page. It's important because what we need is pages that humanize themselves, right? So obviously there's certain questions that maybe you guys don't want to disclose as an organization, like the price, how much does the property cost? Maybe you don't want to disclose that, which is fine. You can use price to your advantage or not. It's up to you. You can tell people how expensive something is because you believe it will position it as a high-end thing, or you can keep the price secret because you feel that it will also position you as high-end and more exclusive. So it really is up to you if you want to use price, for example, it's something that you share or don't share. But I do recommend engaging just generally, right? Give your property page a personality. So the way that you're going to speak to people when they're asking you questions is going to determine as well to the audience the texture of the company. If I'm a family person, right, and I'm looking for a family home, and I find this page with what looks like great family homes, and we ask questions, oh, is it safe for dogs? And you say, yes, we love having dogs in all of our properties. Things like that, right? Already show the personality. Okay, this company understands family needs. This is the way they're responding, which means they're quite open and inclusive. So just make sure that if you are engaging, that it does resonate the company values and who you stand for. I hope that everybody who's watching this understands that the conversation for me when it comes to property marketing is making it customer centric. Instead of focusing so much on the features of the properties, really do a deep dive into who your customers are and get to understand them. Get to understand them so well that you preempt their needs. And in preempting their needs, you show it in the content. You know, if you have lots of clients and you sell family homes and it's people with pets, have pets in your pictures. Right? You'd think it's such an insignificant thing, but that actually can change the game for you. Have those kinds of things. And then another thing that I see a lot of property people do wrong or not do enough of is not having a base to catch interest, attention, and sales. So what I mean by this is you obviously cannot fulfill a property purchasing decision from social media, right? We're using social media as a tool to create awareness and build some kind of brand and also get conversion, which means that you need a place to take people to. Anyone who's selling property should have a website. You should have a website. And the website should go into a more extensive conversation about what you're selling. So if your social media is just showing beautiful videos of the space, then your website needs to go into the features and the benefits. It needs to go into more of the stuff that position you as a real property company. And that narrow down the attention, narrow down the people who are watching so that you're actually capturing your core buyer. So that they can email you or call you, right? But what I see being done wrong quite often, especially with property companies, my apologies, they're doing construction today, is their websites are almost like their social media pages in the sense that they'll just post a picture, say these are our properties, email us for more. No, don't do that. You're going to lose so many people because there is no incentive. They don't have an impetus to email you. What they saw online is what they're seeing on your pictures, on your website. There's no depth to it. So for them to understand that you're truly a company that's within the property industry and that understands what they're doing, have a more extensive conversation on your website. Also, wonderful thing that I don't think a lot of property companies leverage on is customer feedback, where they actually show on their websites. You know, we've sold this many properties, and these are the people who are happy about it. Here's some customer feedback. I really believe that customer feedback is one of the greatest tools you can use, especially when it comes to selling high ticket items like property, in order to get the sales that you want, to get the leverage that you want, to build a brand that you want. So use customer feedback, customer reviews to your advantage. And don't just put some companies, what they'll do is they'll use those profiles that don't have faces. Use faces. Please use the faces. Don't make it invisible people, Casper the Friendly Ghost. That means nothing. We need to see the human element. We need to see that you're actually selling to real people. So please use that to your advantage when you are selling your property, so people can believe that you really are making people happy. What people care about, you'll be shocked to know, when they're purchasing properties and when they're looking for property companies to buy, is, will these people be able to help me fulfill my desires? Buying property is not a rational decision. Maybe when it comes to property investment, there is more, and when I say investment, I mean maybe somebody who's trying to buy apartments for student accommodation, or somebody who's trying to get apartments for Airbnbs. That will be a bit more of a rational process, because they're going to worry a lot about the price and that kind of thing. But with other ones, people are not that worried about those things. They're more worried about your ability to meet all of their needs. So you really need to be very clear about the fact that as a company, you guys are meeting their needs. You're not just selling property. You're not just trying to close a sale. It's a relationship. And I believe that the companies that are going to invest in that are going to have really great social media marketing. And I think the last point I want to make before we end our short masterclass today is, guys, have a personality. Right? Stand for something as a property company so that you can differentiate yourself from other property companies. The average human being doesn't really know the difference between different property companies. We just look at the portfolio you have of properties, if we even go that far, and then we choose based on whether we think the properties you have are what we want, right? But what you actually want as a property company is to secure someone so that they go on the journey of finding the right property with you. So they come to you and they say, I'm looking for this. Are you able to help me find it? More than them saying, I found this on your website. I want that only. You want them to see you as the kind of property company that can fulfill all their property needs, or at least is an expert in the industry, so much so that they will still ask you questions and for guidance and advice, even if you lead them to another property space. Because trust me, when they go and buy another property, they're going to come back to you, even if they didn't buy the first one through you, because you guided them through the other process and they trusted you and it worked. So it really should be a process of relationship building, not just once-off transactions, because that means that you're always going to have to keep producing more and more content and finding newer and newer customers, when actually what you should be doing is creating loyalty, so that your loyal customers are the ones recommending you to everybody, and you're doing less and less work marketing your stuff and advertising it. And by the time people come to you, they're coming on referral and they trust the person who referred them, because that person is so happy with what you did that they're willing to trust you too. Selling property is a game of relationships. It is not a game of brick and mortar. That is the least of the customer's concern. Make sure your pages are about the experience, showing the customer that you can meet their needs, more than it is about the fact that you've got properties to sell. Nobody wants to be sold to. People want to be understood, and they want to be catered to and served. Thank you guys for joining. I know this one was, at a very random time. It's just my schedule has been crazy these days, and this is the only time I had. I'm literally about to go shoot a TV show just now, so I wanted to make sure that I've got my property people before we do that, because I know this industry is a really great industry, and a lot of you who follow me do have businesses in this sector, and I want to see you guys thrive, because it's really not that difficult. From a social media perspective, especially from a marketing perspective, it's not difficult to thrive in the property world using marketing and social media. Let me know how you found the tips. You're also welcome to screenshot this, share it on Instagram, and I'll repost you. Let's share this. I know a lot of people can find value from this. It's the basics most of the time that we miss as human beings. And, we've almost got it right, but we just have some of the basics wrong. And that could be literally the difference between having 10 customers or 100 customers. It's always the small things. This video is highlighting some of the small things that you might be missing, that you're not thinking about. And I'm hoping it's also reframing your mindset about what you're offering so that you can really get into the thick of the customers that you want, and you can see continuous, momentous growth for your pursuits. Guys, I love you. True MTV says, hi, Lebu. Thanks for this great share. I really appreciate it. I'm in printing and packaging. How can I apply these principles? Okay, so every single week I'm going to be doing industry-related lives. Next week, I have to check which one I'm going to be doing. But please, guys, keep abreast on my feeds, on my Instagram and my TikTok and my LinkedIn, and I will literally let you guys know which industry I'm going to be doing next. But I'm definitely going to be doing printing very soon, because I've got a lot of people in our community who are in that business, and boy oh boy do I have a lot to say. If you don't know how to take this advice that I've given today and apply to your business in a different sector, one thing can stand true no matter which industry you're in, and that is experience, experience, experience. Focus more on the customer experience more than selling. Experience will always trump everything. People will be loyal to you because you give them a good experience. Experience is everything. Customer service, quality of products. So many things create the experience for the customer. And if you can get that right, you're set for life. But please do keep abreast on all my pages, and you'll see when I'm doing one for the packaging and graphic design, etc. industries, because I know that's been a very big demand coming from the community. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Let me go. My producers are going to come for me if I'm late to get on set. But thank you for tuning in. All my speaking bundles have gone for the day, and I still have to speak some more. I am Gela says, this was informative, Labor. Thank you. It is absolutely my pleasure. Hotatsu says, absolutely, absolutely. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. And I'll share on my social media platforms which industry we're doing next. Goodbye. Mwah. Yes. Okay, now I have to learn how to end these. And we are